Okay, to those people who can't hear me very well, I will look into a better setup. But we kind of, somebody requested that I get a microphone. And so I don't know if like you're new and you just got one that you couldn't hear very well. Because I do talk lower usually when somebody's here. But but I did get a microphone and it made the sound weird. So I would have to look into getting like that big thing that everybody has and stuff, which I need to get like a much better setup because I'm just on my phone, and before I was just propping it up on something. Then my daughter said, "Hey, you know they make a light thing." I was like, "Are you kidding?" I was like trying to bring in all this light because my house is so dark. And so this is all I have in my phone and just my face right here. So um it's so intensive energy. And it's so weird too. 'Cause there was a show a long time ago when I was a kid, and it came out, and I can see it, and the lady had like braids. She kind of looked like Pippi Longstocking's grown up or something. Ah, man, I can almost hear it. But it was weird and also dark shadows. But they had this different way that they looked. I gotta not look at this. This is so trippy. So, and I've been noticing how much more things are looking three-dimensional. Like everything is really changing. And the so when I went to do this morning, I was like, oh my God, everything is like movie. It's like when you were watching movies on your TV or something, and then they all kind of look alike, but then you put on some show. I don't know, it can be different ones. I think it's the speed or something they film it at. I'm not sure. But it makes it look really weird. Sometimes it makes it look real fake. That's what this looks like. It is so weird. Just the whole way I'm moving, the whole way it looks. Oh my God. But I was having a hard time sleeping. Still is having a hard time sleeping. The fucking rain and rain and rain and rain. We still don't have a toilet, but we'll have one today. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the bathroom thing. And he got under the tub and everything was fine. So he's replaced all the stuff. He's made it all so supportive too. It's like he's in there jumping. He made it so much more supportive than what was there, you know. There's just some rotten wood. It was, oh my God, it was rotten. It was on the verge. So anyways, but now it's like, I feel like it's gonna be like a whole new bathroom. I'm so excited. But, oh yeah, because I have a portable toilet, you know, because I'd gotten it for the tiny house and it never was used. And so it was like, because I decided anyways, I wanted to plumb it in out there. And, but so I had this brand new portable toilet, like a camp toilet or like a camp toilet or something. And so he brought it in so I would have one in the night, because when he first took everything off, it seemed like, oh, I'll have the toilet back on in a little while. But there's always, when you do projects, it always becomes bigger than you think it's going to be. But the thing about it too is when you are, because I've been in relationships, you know, I like doing projects, and some people don't do well when things go wrong and lose their mind or freak out or become like really anxious. Like they have different reactions. So it's a lot more fun to do a project where somebody just goes with the flow, like, no, you know, this isn't, and then not get all worked up. But oh no, I think probably the reason I had so much experience with that was that they probably were doing projects to try and please me, and then it wasn't going right, because that's the way the universe works, because it's going to push you to do what you want to do and to be honest. So don't fucking do a project that you don't want to do and then hold it against me. That's not fair to me. I'm just saying, hey, I want to do this, or something needs to be done, or whatever. And I just had that so much. But the thing that was so funny was because we were talking about, so yesterday it started being more of a problem, and he started going, well, I'm going to go to the gas station, go to the bathroom. I was like, you can use the bathroom, and or that little toilet. And he's like, nope, I've been sick since I got here. So we were talking more about it later in the afternoon, is that the day had stretched out because he had to keep leaving and going. He said, it's so crazy because the sneezing, the congestion, and the stomach flu thing, he said, started. It was like right after he got here. And the stomach flu thing, he kept on thinking, what the fuck is going on? All I've eaten is almond cookies and nachos. And I said, that's what I do all the time too. I said, it just comes in these waves. It's so weird as shit. And all of a sudden you just have the stomach flu, and it always goes with this congestion, always follows the fog. It has a routine. But anyways, it's such confirmation when somebody else comes and then they're like having all these things that you complain about having. Oh, and it also is so nice. It smells so clean and fresh in here. And it does feel fresher. Like, I'm sure having that wet wood back there just rotting and rotting in the house, not having good ventilation, it was probably for sure putting mold spores and stuff. But I know it has more to do with this, whatever it is. I think it's in the fog. And what was that? Because it was something. Oh yeah, I was gonna say this too, because this the one girl I talk about, the rescuers who are always they go up to the shelters, and they're like the go-between from the shelters to the rescues, and the rescues. And sometimes there's like an emergency rescue, and then it goes to other rescues. There's a lot of dog swapping, and that, of course, always fills in the gaps with corruption. And all the corruption's going to keep being leaked out of our life, though. It's going to keep purging out in front of us, and we're all going to be like, oh, ooh. And the people are going to allow humiliation. And so, yeah, the tables are turning. I even just heard somebody who was at the Vegas thing telling the whole thing. Like, there's going to be people being able to tell their stories and stuff now, because I think he's already doing something with censorship, like lifting it a little here, a little there, because I've heard people saying stuff about, like this one girl on TikTok was saying, I'm going viral on Twitter or on X all the time. Every day I'm going viral, and on here, there's nothing. And I was like, I know exactly what she's talking about, because it's like, you know what videos do it when you're doing these ones, but then they repress those ones. Like I did one yesterday, and when, especially those ones that are quick and to the point, they won't let them go. I think it got like 70 views or something. It's such bullshit. But the thing about the shipping container, there's people like, there's supposed to be a trend. We're starting a trend where we're supposed to be like, we want to see what's in them and open them up. And so we're gonna all just start demanding, open the fucking things up. We want to see what's in them, and try and spread that, and it will spread. It will ripple out, you know, the more. And it's not like everybody has to go online and say it, but just say it out loud. Just say it out loud in your house. Just keep saying it out loud, and that energy it just will pick up. It's like whispering in the wind, and especially because this is what the universe wants. And so the wind, the universe, will pick it up and spread it out like fairy dust. So it's like people will get it in their dreams and stuff. So you don't have to be, you know, like, well, I don't want to go and say it to them. And you don't have to do all that stuff. All you got to do is say it out, put it out there. So, oh yeah. Okay, so the rescue girl, she's been super emotional, especially because there was kind of an argument. I have to keep looking away because it looks really weird. There was, I was in the beginning of the rescue thing when I was getting a lot of arguments with these girls, because they would post all these, it was so weird, because they would post these things about, you know, the good deeds of all these people going and taking these animals from these pet hoarders, or getting them out of these situations or whatever, and then taking them to these shelters that just were putting them to death. And so I was like pointing that out because they're trying to act like, oh, look at. And it was like, I mean, the first one I had said to, like, we were arguing, and then all of a sudden she's like, you know, like, yeah. But then that spread. And it wasn't me. I just started hearing other people talking about. So everybody's like, I'm telling you, it's about the more you get information, the more your perspective is like when you see more and more and more and more. And the more you see, the more you go back. That's when you get more in observation. That's when you don't get so tore up. And that's why it's better when you're real in your emotion is step back. Give yourself perspective. Step back. Step back. It's the getting in there and like gonna chew it off or something. That's when you're losing your mind. And that's where you gotta notice and start getting control. So I'm super uncomfortable, so I keep squirming too. so, anyways, then so then there was a bunch of videos and they were all showing these dogs. They got to get out of there. They're on the youth list. They're on the youth list. Hurry and get them out. And so there was all these. And I would go in and keep in the comments, close the kill shelters, save the dogs, stop killing the animals, stop these serial killers, stuff like that. And some of the people who would do them would come and be like, what are you, and I would just say, hey, because this has got to end. Now that energy is totally taken off. And I know I'm not like the only one. There's got to be coming from other places. Unless, I don't know, maybe this is my world. I don't know. Oh my God. If it was my world, I would want more comfort. And Max is right here. The whole, it's just very uncomfortable. So anyways, but the energy did start going, and there was a change when all of a sudden it started being a lot of focus on getting the dogs out of the kill shelters and pointing out. And I think, I don't know when it went down, but when there was like a change in the energy all of a sudden when all these girls started realizing how many of these dogs at some of these places were doing in, and it's only increasing. And that is the thing I wanted to say, because especially in Houston, this Houston, Harris County needs to be shut down. I'm not even fucking kidding you. It is just like the one that did in Gunner. It's so fucking criminal. And the girl who gets so emotional, she's always going there. She's trying to get these dogs seen so somebody can, rescue them or foster them. And it's a big ordeal. And Houston is fucking overrun or something. Like, what the fuck, motherfuckers? And so there is some good things about blue states, or the blue angle, because yeah, there is a lot more responsibility about that. Like, I don't know. There's this the general thing of like, don't eat meat and save the planet, save the animals. I mean, they think they're doing all that stuff. They just don't know that it's these people are using an agenda and fooling them and stuff, but they're passionate about it and stuff. So I don't know. I'm sure that there is, backyard breeders or something that's liberal. I'm sure it's all in all things. Like that fucking one guy who just supposedly, if this really happened, that himself, his wife, and his 2 kids over Donald. These people have lost their fucking minds, but I don't even know if that's propaganda, because there's just so much fucking propaganda, so you can't get all like, it's just, and it gets people, though, all the propaganda and stuff does get people talking and gets that energy going in different directions. But so, the Harris County one, she's been just, it was like every day, this dog has got this long, and these videos of her, you got to, Harris County is youthing these dogs as soon as they come in and all that stuff. Well, yeah, I guess they did 200 the other day. And they're not, she said they're not even giving them names. They're not giving them any chance to even go in the cages and be seen. They're just bringing them in and kill them a couple hundred a day. And then she said that she wants everybody to be contacting the judicial and all that stuff. I would say we need to contact this other administration that's making its presence very known, because they're the ones going after these county people who are criminals. But this is where the criminals are showing themselves so that they can be got, you know. So we have to see their crimes and whatever is going on. She said that they something about the money, and they would rather than let these dogs be seen and feed them or something. They would rather just pay somebody to come in and youth them. So every 3 days they pay this money to somebody who's going in. Like, I can't even imagine a reasonable vet. Like, it's somebody who's lost their mind. Like, how could, I mean, what in the holy hell? It is mass murder, man. This is those beings have souls. Like, that's no fucking bullshit. That's no joke. Like, you're fucking, you know, I don't want to just say you're fucking up, but like, yeah, in the universe, don't be thinking like you're looked at different than like Hillary or something. You're just, and it's an energy that they carry. It's something, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't want to get all in judgment of these people, but but anyways, just think about that though. I mean, this is where, to me, it's like, it's not a stretch. It's not a conspiracy, you know, oh, well, let's go with a crazy theory or something. No, put together the pieces. Put together the pieces of what we know and how they run this shit. They're fucking making money off of it. That is fucking being sold. That is a product being sold for, I don't know if they make shoes and shit out of their skin too. I don't know. Dog skin is, I don't know, I guess maybe you can turn anything into leather. I mean, they may turn us into leather. So, but it's the food. I know it's a fucking food. I know it. I know, to me, it is not a stretch. It's fucking so simple in math. It's like an elementary math to put that shit together. There's fucking 200, and you got this guy coming in, and that guy, whoever, it's probably like Planned Parenthood kickback shit. Like, this guy is making this money, like, so he comes in, whatever, it's a laundry system, so it's a paper trail. We'll give you this, so we'll go with that there, and that's gonna go there. It's just fucking bullshit. They just pass it around until we get lost. And then if they go and see, and those kinds of things, just think about how insurance and doctor's offices and all that stuff work. And then since I've worked in doctor's offices, and I've been office manager and stuff, and I know about how, you know, like, the doctors have to be in the insurance thing, and then they put all these restrictions and stuff on the doctors. They make doctors jump through hoops. They have everything always riding on a license. That's how they keep, it's almost like keeping people quiet. Your license is always at risk. You do something, you're at risk for not being able to ever work again. So they've kept so many people under wraps by, you know, just think about how they do on all this shit. On fucking driver's, all this bullshit. It's all about control, control, control. And so but the food thing, I know that, okay, yeah, because the kickback, okay, because, yep, the judicial, yep, the contractors, the realtor, like, all these different people, and that's where the system drags the people in, but it doesn't drag everybody in. Drags in the people who are here to play those roles and stuff, but the energy that is drug in is in those people. I think it's to be exposed to the people so that they can get it out and play it through, but it is an energy of this, let me think for a second, because where was I? If I get lost, maybe it's because I was, not going off on the wrong thing or something. I don't fucking know. Because that's what it is like. That's like what it would happen too when I would be doing those tests, and it would just like, but like, and plus you'd be trying to read it, and then you couldn't like figure out what the words meant and stuff. I'd be like, okay, you guys, like, you win. I'm just coloring in the dots. Let's go. And then it even became at a certain point later on. I think, I don't know, it seems like the second or third year of doing it that I had to do it slow. I couldn't just go through and do it real quick because then it was too obvious. I had to do it slow, like I was really doing the test. And I think it probably was, like, I don't know all the things that they said to my parents, but I'm pretty sure that they did at some point say something about, oh, we don't even know she's reading it and doing it. So, anyway, that test was had a lot more value to them than they were letting on. As they were looking, it was like, just think, oh, yes, goddamn. Oh my God, okay, I gotta scoot around again. Oh my gosh, I'm about to pick this thing up and move it. Bug. Because think about how many of these personality tests that were always on Facebook. I don't know if they're on all these other things and stuff, but man, when Facebook first was a thing, there was constantly personality tests, test this, test that, and people were always showing their results. And then there was a whole lot of things that, I look at different now that were back then, but that is very interesting that would be, because it's like they're looking for a certain thing. They're looking for, and what's weird too, is that when so over my brain injury and stuff and the court thing and my lawyer, and so she had said she wanted me to do this personality test thing, and I've done a whole bunch of them. Like I had done them a long time, and I always come out in this weird 1 or 2% thing, and it used to bother me, but then as I lived life and I started realizing, that I was different than other people, then it was I don't know. I think it was a long time. I think it was her who made me look at it differently or something. Because there was always that edge of not being just average. Like when you're out of the what's accepted as average, when you're outside of that, all you want to do is be in there and be average. I just want to be average. I just want to be average height. I just want to be average. And so it was but those are challenges. Those are the challenges that help us to grow and stuff, to be the outsider, because it's hard. It's hard to always be on the outside. And it's challenging. There's so many challenges. It's no more challenging than anybody else's challenges. But the challenge is when you notice the things, your challenges in life, it shows you kind of like what you're working on and, where to put your growth towards or something. So, let me see again. Challenges in life. The test. Okay, so somewhere in between the test. The test. So doing the test. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, because it was something when we were kids, and they're still doing it. It wasn't like they did this a long time ago. They're still doing it, and I bet you that the tests are even more, because one thing I learned too was IQ, was the IQ testing. Because what would you think IQ testing would be? you know, when you think about IQ testing, like when you'd always hear like, oh, IQ testing, or the people's IQ, and these people are genius and all that stuff. And but the oh gosh, yes. But the everybody's IQ is about to fucking skyrocket. That's what's about to go down. That's what the thing was. I just why I said oh, because it's something that was shown. But so the so in the IQ testing, it is like how many more, how can you solve a problem? Like when you run into a problem, are you able to expand? Are you able to think? Are you able? So everything, it really is about this being able to think outside the box. And that is why, like, where they start saying a genius, because they can think of the things we haven't thought of. So they think outside the box. And so the IQ thing is testing how your ability is to think of more. Like you run into this problem, well then do you just sit and start hitting it and trying to, or I mean even trying to cut it and make it smaller is still you know, using your mind to try and come up with another plan. But the more plans that you can come up with is the more like developed, or the more your brain is able to, and that's where they consider genius. So but that's what they're looking for, kind of thing. So it's way more, it's not like they hold all this information or something like that. It's the way that they can process. So they can run into problems and be able to go through it like it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Oh, and you know, and just go through that kind of thing. And to me, that has some to do with the not being I don't know, it's like an advancement from the three-dimensional, being able to look outside and to know that there's something else. You know, that's just one way. I can do it a bunch of different ways. Because there's people who really think in limitation, that there's one way. And if you don't do it that way, you're not doing it the right way. And so there's people who are really stuck in that. And I've always noticed that those people are really stuck. They get very frustrated when you don't agree with them. They think that there's only this way and it's got to be done this way. And so anyways, those people, and a lot of people have those people for parents and stuff. And so they can be very frustrating. And yeah, it can play out in so many different ways. It can go in, I saw several different angles real quick of how the different directions it can go in very different angles and have effects on the people. So, you know, and I think it's important to acknowledge how life affects you so you can heal it. You can't just go around acting like, yeah, nothing bothers me. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I don't care. I was beaten every day. I don't care. I'm fine. It was a long time ago, but don't bother me. It's like, because you don't realize you're just trying to keep something stuffed in there because it bothers you and you don't want to think about it. You got to just process through it. And then it really does get to the point where, you know, you can think about it, maybe even have emotions about it, but it doesn't, you know, tear you up. You don't go around treating everybody like it's the same thing playing out or something. I don't know. It's just something. So anyways, in the testing, they look for certain things that you don't really know. And then they look for the kind of the way we think. And it's always like looking at our processing and stuff and see, and that is where they're trying to create restriction, because it isn't that one thing that is a common theme at when people are talking, is that these people don't have no common sense. They don't think for themselves because they're running programs. They're not thinking for themselves, and they are in lower chakra, so they're just reactive. They're living off of like a reaction to life, like something happens and that creates this to happen. And then that's why it's more deliberate of you, and it's not controlling the energy. It's just a different way of living where it's like you're more in control of yourself, so you are in a better energy. And so it's not like going into this new you that controls I control the universe, I control. No, it's you have control of your emotions, which is directs you through the energy. And so when you your emotions are all out of control, like what we see, it's like you're just going through the dark. It is fast. And when you're more deliberate and you're more of like in gratitude and, you know, going with the flow and stuff and just, how things work out is how things work out. And it's so crazy is, because I got the Misfit paint and stuff and then putting it on there as doing the paint, because then I've started painting too, is, and how good it looks. And I would have never gone in there and thought, oh, I'm going to get this color of paint. Never in a million years. I'm telling you, it's so fun when you start trusting the universe like this. And on the floor thing too, because it was kind of like what was going to be there was going to be the right thing. And so then it was like looking, because I knew when as soon as I saw it that I would know. And then I saw these big funky puzzle things, and I was really drawn to the pattern thing, and I was thinking that would look really good. And so we looked around at some more, and then, we were looking at that one, and I think we looked at some more, and then looked more at that one again, and then we ended up getting that one. And it just seems like the smartest one, too, like, for the project, because you can't get into the hot water heater yet or under the washer and dryer. And so, but to still have the floor, so once that stuff is moved, it could be repaired, like fixed, because that's one of the things in there too, is that I think that they just put a floor on top of a bad floor to just try and sell it. And that's another thing that shows these inspectors are bullshit. I cannot believe that my house actively was leaking when the inspector comes and says, no, it's all good, everything's good. And then I go move in a couple weeks later, and then however much longer it was, because it was already after winter. I moved in at the end of winter. I moved in at March 28th, and so there was no more freezing. The freezing was already done. Like it was, I think I moved at the last snowstorm, so it was a really bad snowstorm. So whatever, when the inspector come, there had to be signs of the leaking and stuff. And I just know that they just don't look. They don't look. And, you would think that they would take notice if you go in the bathroom and there's 3 different floors at 3 different levels. Especially the bathroom's tiny. It's not like it's like a big stretch. It's like fucking tiny. The whole fucking house is tiny. And that's one thing when you're doing a project in a tiny house. Oh my God. Stuff is just everywhere. Stepping on things. It's like, it can give you anxiety if you go in anxiety, but you just have to notice kind of like, this is intense, and just be like, I'm just gonna kick it and not be, like, I have to get this done, I have to get that done. Just go with the flow and let things get done when they get done. And, but definitely with the color of the floor, and then just the Misfit paint, I just took these 2 colors that I thought, oh, these would go good, and then seeing them in the rest of the thing, and then I think with the floor, I think it's fucking magical. I can't wait to see it all put together. But it's kind of fun to do that kind of stuff too, is to try, but, put it out there. Like I was putting it out there, like the night before, like manifesting, putting it out there, like the floor, and like I was putting it on them. Like, I'm gonna trust you guys, so you show me what it is, and I'm gonna trust you guys and get what you guys show me. And so that's what I did, and then I'm putting it together, and it's like, oh my God, I love it. And it's not stuff that I would have ever thought, no fucking way would I've ever thought to go in and pick them. So it makes it even more fun. So, okay, let me think. So they're mass murdering dogs so that they can feed them to the people. What was that? There was something. Oh yeah, this is weird, because there's these people like when you go to the store, I guess look at the Mountain Dew, and probably more sodas, probably the dark sodas too. The Mountain Dew's light. I bet you it's in a lot more sodas, but it was found in the Mountain Dew, and somehow more people are looking, but I think it's probably in all of them. But there's all this stuff in it. There's just a bunch of like gunk in it. And so then when you pick it up, it all comes up from the bottom, and starts going around and like you let your 2-year-old drink out of your soda while they were eating, kind of looks like. I was like, oh my God, how many people just go grab one of those and just guzzle it? I think everybody's looking at that as thinking about that. How many times you just opened a soda and just guzzled it down and then thinking of like, ew, how much garbage. But what I think is even worse is I think it is probably nanos. I think that they are, who was it? It was some actor. It's like a 41-year-old actor right now or something. I can hear his name kind of, but I can't. I don't know if I could say it right. Vanderhole or something. But he's like this younger guy, I think 41 or whatever. But he's got colon cancer. And it's like all the people are going to all have this stuff because they're putting it into us directly. This guy, this is trippy. Like, this is weird. This guy had a coughing fit. He's coughing and coughing and coughing. He coughs up this giant fucking blood clot, but it was in the shape of his bronchial. Like, it literally looks like a fucking coral piece or something. Like, it comes out and like just how your bronchial is, how, because you're so here, like, you have your esophagus, and then down here you have, so in here you have in the bronchial is where like the tube splits, and so then you have one that goes into your lungs and one that goes down into your stomach. And so the one, and that's why sometimes like when you do that weird thing or something, it's like you didn't shut the gate right or something, and like you swallow wrong, you start choking or whatever, and that's why it's you got to be careful when you're chewing and stuff, because especially old people do this a lot, and probably young people. But that's another thing that's going around right now is this pneumonia. And this woman said that when she took her kid, and I guess the whole bunch of kids have it because they're probably spreading it to school. And the doctor said this is what happened in 19. So, and who knows if this is their script or whatever, because she's like, get these back on, hurry. And so the sickness, you know, the sickness is the poisons and the chemicals and the nanos, and them being able to trigger sickness in us, and the fast-growing cancers and stuff. But that the clot in his thing, and then coughing it out. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So when you so sometimes when they're chewing, like an old person or whatever, when they're chewing, and they'll like inhale, and then they'll get like a food particle, and they'll inhale it, and it will go through because there's like a filtering thing in here, and so it's where the bronchioles are, and so where that goes out, it goes out in like these fingers kind of thing, and it has like this. My hand is a good thing. Like, it works good for these things. So it has this part here, and then it kind of goes out in all these branches, and then it goes down into your lungs, and then your lungs also have a filtering system in it too, the villi, and it has these little bunches of it all throughout our body. We have these little bunches of these little, in the flesh and blood body, we have these little bunches of these hairs that move things around, and that is you know, aging or, you know, dying slowly because you're not taking care of yourself and you don't have enough minerals and shit. Then that villi stops working so much. So that is why a lot of older people get like pneumonias and stuff like that, because this whole system. But so in the bronchioles, that is like your filter to get to your lungs. And then your lungs have lobes, and it's like 3 lobes on one side and 2 lobes on the other, and it's like the 2 lobes are a little like bigger, and then I think the one with the 3 lobes is like that. I think, I don't really remember for sure. You have to look at the anatomy, but anatomy and physiology, I used to love that class. But anyways, and they all just, so it's all filled with filtered things. So when you are keeping yourself going, and another thing too, when you are taking care of yourself, your cells do themselves. It's like, I think you can look it up. I don't know. And maybe it's Barbara O'Neill who talks some about it too, but I had heard this before. And I had heard that every 7 years that you have completely new cells. There's nothing that is left of you that was there 7 years ago. All your cells have redone themselves into, you've like shedded the old cells and you've grew new ones. So that's one of the things is coming out on the not aging thing. Is like it's not possible. It's because our cells are constantly redoing themselves, rejuvenating themselves, and growing. And so it's like we are in the plant world. We are the what are those called? The annuals, or it always starts. There's the annuals and the whatever, the ones that come and you plant them and they just come that 1 year, but you can plant other ones and they come back year after year after year. And so it is like our cells, like we come back, come back, come back, come back. So they so like, yeah, there's several things they want to keep people brainwashed. I think maybe they're doing the testings to see how many people are breaking free from the programming. Because I mean, they've already, that thing I saw the other day said that was a big thing of why they wanted all these kids on Ritalin and stuff, because that was the way that the programming, they needed the, because the kids that were not paying attention, you know, how can you hypnotize them? And even when I was in school and the teacher would start talking, it would they couldn't program me because I just like left my body. I didn't I didn't even stay in my body, so you know they couldn't program me. So no, there's lots of other kids, and that's why they were making it where they started wanting kids on drugs and stuff, so that they could get the programming to work better. And I think that's probably why we see more kids programmed. But for those of us who didn't get so programmed that can see through some of this bullshit, I bet you there's a lot of us that were attention deficit or all these different things in school and stuff. Oh yeah, and this dad was just showing his daughter, and so she's labeled or diagnosed as autistic and nonverbal. Because there's a whole thing about this nonverbal, which, you know, I know that what the body is doing is what the mind is doing. And I mean, the mind, you can, there's a whole world happening. So, but the problem is in the communication. It's in the synapse of how to get it from here to there. So there's something that is getting in what all they do with the chemicals and stuff. It knocks them out of whack. And so for some people, you got to have them. You know, some of the people that get sick or whatever, it's how they put things out of whack. And so, and that is, you know, they're doing like fucking 70 or something of these now on kids. And so they're, you know, doing it to make them out of whack. Wouldn't surprise me. That would not surprise me at all. Yeah, I just all of a sudden came in if there's not some fucking antidote that's going to be handed out. And if it wasn't going to be after they had control of these kids, if they weren't going to give them some antidote and then control them in another way or something. Because there's a weird thing about it. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some antidote that's going to come out that's going to be able to fix whatever is causing the problem with their communication. But anyways, so this guy said, you know, the doctors or whatever, how they act about if you have a nonverbal autistic kid, it's like, you know, the way that you're treated and stuff, which I'm hearing so many different people's testimonials about how they're being treated with this weird shit. And not just autism, but other things too. Autoimmune, like all sorts of things. So, so he showed his daughter too, and he said she does this all day long. And so you can just say like, you know, what's 500 million times 22 or something. I don't know, just doing these weird numbers because I've seen these other kids doing it too. And then she has like a little thing and she can push on the numbers. And so she just pushes the numbers and the answer is right. And so some of these kids, their minds are so quick, and that is why they would be like it's developing them in a way like they're more in touch with the universal mind or something. I don't know. But everything that they do, I swear to God, is it's all so purposeful. And it's also nefarious. And they're all this testing. Like there's so much testing and testing. And they're always testing like how we think and what we think and how that made us think that way. And then they go in and they manipulate us. The CIA was all about this, figuring out how to fool us or something, and testing and all of that kind of stuff. So, but all these tests, but that is, when you think about it, that makes so much sense all of a sudden on Facebook for all those personalities and people just racking them up and putting them out there, just like the, like all these filter things that all these people are doing. It's also something with the AI facial recognition. And so there's something weird and shady about the whole thing. And so they're trying to get us, it's like giving something up or giving something. I'm not sure, but there's something weird about it. And so you're not supposed to be doing that all the time, trying to get it to read. Like I have my phone set up to read my face, and one thing that lately, it keeps on not being able to read it. I have to do it like 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then I have to put in my number and sometimes, but on some of the things like the bank and stuff like that, it just keeps going back and won't do it. And so I kind of have just been seeing like how long and what is it, why is it doing this, is it the phone, is it the face, is it AI, is it the bank? So just kind of like riding it and seeing where it's going. But I don't know, it keeps happening. But I know that there is something weird about this face thing. And even when they were doing these things and stuff, there's a whole, that's where you can go down a rabbit hole or conspiracy theory and stuff on the facial recognition stuff, because there's a whole bunch of stuff, like it back in 2020 when I was seeing stuff about it. And weird things too. Like they had cameras set up in places like in bars, which they have this all the time. Like if you go on the lives in TikTok, they have them set up all over the place in bars and stuff, and just watching people. But there's something about them being able to find like they can find you and shit. Like there's just something weird. And you just like, you don't need to know my fucking shit. You don't need to know my name. You don't need my DNA. You don't need my fingerprints. You don't need my eyeball prints. You don't need any of my shit. So fuck off. Then, but anyway, so they're always looking for a certain way of thinking or something. But back on my attorney, so it was weird, so she wanted me to do a test. So I did the test and I came back, and then she was making such a big deal about how rare my thing was and how rare my personality was or something. And then and that's where I started thinking maybe where it was like, oh, maybe it's a good thing, because I don't remember when it was where I ever changed that. But I remember really being bothered for a long time, because all I wanted to do was be average and just, get along, not be always standing out from the crowd or something, because it does make you very uncomfortable. It makes you feel like everybody else is under the umbrella and you're just standing out here in the storm looking like a doofus. So, anyways, but like I said, those are all challenges. And like I said, I know that they have been looking for things, and I don't know, I can't say that they could see my rare thing and be like, oh, nobody's gonna listen to that crazy bitch, which has been basically my whole thing. But there's other things too. Like I don't know who or what, but there's more to these tests. There's more to what they're looking for. It's not just for your entertainment. There's like scouting or something. They're always looking for something. But it's really weird though, because when the IQ thing, because I always thought, you know, they make such a thing about IQ. What the fuck is about with the IQ? And then I did an IQ test when I was a kid with my brothers and sisters. My sister had one, she had a book or something. So she wanted us to all do this IQ test. And I was doing it. And because it's school tests and stuff, you know, we were always on timers and stuff. So I thought, oh, it must be a time test. So I just started going through it as fast as I could. And so I wasn't really focused on trying to do it, you know, think it through or something. I just did as fast as I could because I thought, you know, you had to finish it fast. I don't have any idea why I even thought that. And then on my score thing, I think it was like 126. And the questions were all really, like, that's where I started being like, this was weird. And I thought it was weird how the questions went. That surprised me. And then all of them, my siblings and stuff, we all came out around the same number. And but I kept on being like, well, I did it as like a time test. Like, I probably could have got a better score. Because my daughter or my sister was always like 2 points ahead of me or something. I don't know. She could even say, oh, I was 10 points ahead of you. I have no idea. I always thought it was weird. And I knew I didn't really put in all this effort into it. And, but then once I got my brain injury and I had to do all these tests, they did so many tests on me. And, that's when they told me, well, your IQ is really low now. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, what is it, like 70 or something? And they said, there's no way you would be able to pass nursing school with the, you know. And so I said, well, what is it? What is my IQ? And they're like 99. And that was like still devastating. And I don't even know the range of the numbers. Like, what does that even mean? And so I was like, 99, like, what the fuck? But I knew it was more like 79 is where they're considered to be mentally challenged or disabled or retarded or whatever, where they would say. I think it was like 79. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm still above that. But it was really weird, though, was when I would go out around people. I just remember so distinctly, I said this so many times to my mom, because I was so insecure about having a brain injury, and I couldn't think right, and I was having so many problems. I couldn't recognize people. There was so many problems. And, but when I would be talking to people, and there would be, you know, some kind of conversation or something, I kept on being like, what the fuck? And so I started telling my mom, I don't understand. How is it that I have got this low IQ and I'm supposed to be, but I feel like every time I'm talking to these people, I'm smarter than them. Like, how is it that I feel like everybody is stupider? I was like, this is so weird. And that really was giving me another insight. And I didn't realize then, but it was like where I started to notice where people pay attention. People just don't pay attention. They don't expand their mind. But see, that is a part of what they're trying to do, is to keep people from using their minds or thinking outside the box or developing common sense. They want you just to follow the rules, do what you're told, be where they tell you. They don't want you to think like, well, where do I need to go? Because once you start doing that, then you start back in contact with your soul, and they're trying to control you and keep your soul, you know, kind of hostage. Like, let your soul be hostage in there because you're so paying so much attention to what they want, and so that they can control that. And so there's a lot more, like they could be looking for really weak-minded people in the test, because then they'll send them to certain things, and then they want to, or certain things like, say, these tests, and then they find these certain people, because that's another thing too with the cop testing. They don't hire ones that will think for themselves. It's got to be people who just follow the rules, follow the rules, follow the rules. And so, and if you, they have a whole psychology tests and stuff like that. And if you don't do, if you think too hard, or you think like you have the answers or something, then you don't get to go in and be a cop. So they have that all throughout our world, you know, is this, I don't know, a restriction on our ability to think, but they want to keep people like that. So think about on Facebook. So they put in these tests, and then people go in and they do these tests, and they already know what things in your personality. So they know, like, to me, I'm sure that they would put things in, I don't know, vintage, one of a kind. It would be like, oh my gosh, I want that, I want that. You know what I mean? Like, they know how to target us. And so that's funny too. Yeah, they have a store called Target because they're targeting us. And so, and your personality test goes in, and it shows different parts of you, and then your algorithm becomes targeted. The becomes focus, like a focus on what it is that you want and what it is that you. So that it's like a manipulation. It's not just like data stealing, and yeah, it's weird because then people start thinking like everybody's getting the same one, but no, it's very targeted to you and your personality. And that's weird because I had heard something about that. And it was back, I think it was during 2016. And there was like a revelation where people started realizing that the political information that was being directed, it would be like, because they're still doing it's way worse, but I didn't even think about that because it was coming out then. It's like, it's not just like good stuff, it's like bad stuff. It's like, so they direct information to feed into your division. So they will give you, like, your feed would start being, a bunch of girls shaving their head and talking about they want to murder people. Something like that. So that then you would be like, oh my God, what the fuck? And so they would get people more divided. So it wasn't like they're like, oh, you like to shop at Kroger's? Well, we're going to send you all the stuff that Kroger's offers. No, it would be more like Fred Meyers wants to know, so that they can start sending you stuff to get you to go over there. So it's, I don't know, there's so much mind manipulation that goes on. And I think that Zuck, I think there's going to be a lot that's going to be more, because it was already coming in, and then, I don't know, the blocking of information so that it didn't continue or something. Because I think that there is a lot more to this testing and your information or your algorithm. Like on my algorithm, I like kind of rely on my algorithm, just like I rely on, like, when to go to the store, and then I put it out there what I want, but not like in detail, just like, I want to get some paint. I might, like, however it is. It's like when I want to redo my room, then it'll be like, it'd really be cool. Like when I was redoing it this one time, I was like, it'd be really cool if I like have this canopy thing. And then if I had some things that was hanging here, and then I was like, put this over there and stuff like that. So I'm like imagining it and picturing it. And then the next day we were going to the bins, but kind of missed the bins. And but the bins got real shady anyways. And but so we then went to the bins, and then here I pull up, this, it was it's still hanging over my bed. It was like a, not parachute, it's like this giant netting or something. It's really cool, but it's kind of like this big netting parachute thing over my bed. And then some other things and stuff. And that is like where people would be like, dang, how do you do that? Like, I never find what I'm looking for. And I said, because I tell the universe what I want ahead of time, and then I trust them, and then it's there. And so ahead of time, putting it out there, I want to paint the walls and clean the tiles and the floor and stuff. So, and then I'm gonna go to the Misfit rack to get the paint. So whatever color, that's the color I'm going with, whatever you guys put out there. And so there was a couple of different colors, so I had to go with the paint that was right, the semi-gloss or whatever. Like I said, I think it's like a $50 a gallon paint. But I did, when I was doing it, it was dripping. I got it on my fucking pajamas. I was like, I always do that shit, man. But that's also, I can just use it as a sign. I need to get some new pajamas. Like, it's time. Because I like those flannel pajama pants. They're like warm. It's like wearing a blanket. I like to, well, a lot of times I have to go get the men's stuff anyways, because women's stuff is just too short. And the men's stuff is longer, but then sometimes you have to get them, the pants to be so much bigger to have them be long. I need to just go back to sewing them myself. But then it starts being like, fuck, you make the flannel like $10 a yard or something, and then you need a couple of yards, and then it takes the time, and then you have to, like, it's way more work. Well, you can go down and buy them at the thrift store for $3 if they're there, and then sometimes you can find them in stores for like $10, but then that oftentimes is the ones that are really short and funky. So, I don't know, it's smarter just to make them myself, make a better quality and stuff, and make them the length I want. So, maybe I'll do that. Go back when we have to go to town again or something, get some flannel, and just make some pajama pants. Maybe that's what I'll do, get into that, making some pajama pants or something. Fuck, I can't even believe all the good artists out there. Jeez. And all the good sewers. Oh my God, the crocheters. Oh my fucking God. Like, there's people out there who, anything that you can do, there's always somebody who can do it better. I swear to God. But you can't get caught up in that, you know. You can't, that doesn't mean that you're not good at something just because, somebody else is like really good at it. Maybe that's all they're really good at. Maybe you're good at 5 things and they're really good at 2 things. We all are variables. We're all versatile and stuff. And I'm definitely somebody who likes to do a lot of different things, not just, oh, I'm only going to do this, and that's all I'm going to do, and I'm just going to focus on it. And there's people who do that, and they fucking develop some fucking great talent. And there's so much talent at this time coming to the surface, too. It's like the more the dark exits, the more it opens up for talent and stuff. And what I think is really cool, too, is like this more soulfulness. It's like coming from deeper in people, the music, everything. So that's also a super exciting thing through this change of things going. Oh yeah, and I keep on seeing all these different things. Like, I was really excited about Alex Jones, if he was going to be the public speaker. No, what is that called? Press secretary. If he was going to be the press secretary. But I think it was because somebody had said something. I don't know if it was offered to Candace Owens, and then she said, it might have been it was offered to her, and she said, well, I think Alex Jones would be better at that. I think I would enjoy watching him being press secretary. And then she did a thing saying, wouldn't that be great? And then I had seen another video where they said, like the next day or something, Alex Jones has now been offered the press secretary, and he accepted, and but that's where, like, you don't know, because people keep making fake videos. It's weird, because now there's another one that's saying Tucker just accepted the press secretary job. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone's accepted it. I don't know if it's being offered. I don't know if this is just people, because it can be people who are also instigators online, maybe to instigate the blue people. And it's not just to instigate them to be rude. The rudeness has to be in them. It's more to get them to show themselves to themselves. And so it's not like, that's shitty. You're trying to make that be rude to them. It's like, no, there's an energy that's trying to promote or provoke certain emotions up and out of you. So all of those kinds of things are really gifts from the universe when they can help you get the anger out by redirecting it or bringing it to the surface or whatever it is. What was that? Because it was something else that was coming to my mind. Oh yeah, because this whole, my stomach's growling like crazy again. Because Kamala, oh yeah, because it was fucking, who was that? who was saying that. There's something about this, them saying that they want Joe to step down and Kamala to stay in, and then, oh, so they can experience the first female president. But that's not a fucking female president. We weren't voted. And like, what the fuck are you talking about? These people have lost their goddamn minds, I swear to God. And, but that's what they would consider, you know, if that's good enough. We've experienced the first female president because Joe stepped down and Kamala got to step in for a couple months to do some bullshit. And who knows if that's what's going to go down. But one thing that everybody's talking about is Joe suddenly is like all better. Like they show him walking a couple months ago. Now they show him walking and talking now after. He's just like, yeah, I'm good. Like, and like he doesn't have any problems. And so now people are like, was he fucking kidding that whole time? Was he joshing us? Like, was that all like made up? Was that not like he wasn't losing? He wasn't dementia and stuff? So this is funny, like, to see how this is going to play out. Because is that going to be like, because the truth has to come out. They're not going to go in and trick the people and pretend like that was a real Joe because they don't want them to feel bad that they didn't notice. No, this is where people are going to feel bad because they didn't notice. And so it's going to be thrown up in people's faces. It's going to be everything is going to be, I think the darkest shit. We may not learn about all of like the really, really horrible dark stuff, but we're going to learn a lot, enough to make us sick. I mean, enough to know we need to fucking open the goddamn shipping containers. Enough to know, you know, stop eating the goddamn meat unless you want, you know, especially in Houston. Man, I bet you whatever meat packing plant is buying that stuff. And then you think, like, whatever money they're paying to get all this meat, that how much more they're making off of it. It's just, oh my God, the whole thing is so disgusting. But there's no motherfucking way that they would be putting all that effort in to putting all those things out and not getting something back. And there's no motherfucking, no way. They're fucking, I know it is. They're feeding that to other people. I know it is. And that's going to be a big thing that's going to be coming out. I think it's going to be a big thing about coming out about the food, not just that it's poisonous, but that, you know, like there was one McDonald's hamburger or something that had like 35,000 DNAs in it or some crazy shit. Somebody took it and got a test on it. It was like 35,000 different ones in it. So I was like, because they just take all these bodies and just ground them in together. And like I said yesterday, there's way more. Like people think like it's outrageous just how many people go missing in America. It is way, way, way more from all these darker nations, these more poverty-stricken nations and stuff. They just don't even give a fuck. They don't give a fuck if those people complain. They don't give a fuck like if they go in and take some. There's nobody to turn to. There's no police station. There's no media. It's all, what did I just see? It was something with the CARTEL, some kind of a thing. I don't know. That's what it's basically. Everything's going to be exposed. It's like we've just been being run by gangsters. It's because the vamps needed to hire some bad people, and the bad people always find their way to crime. And, you know, at certain points, they were called gangsters, but they're all over the place. I mean, at this point, we can call them lawyers and doctors and teachers and scientists. Like the fraud, man, he's, and I think, him and Gator, I think, are taken out. It keeps being, Gator keeps being in the news, and oh, he wants to be a part of this new administration or something, which I, again, don't even know if this is true, or if people are just making up these weird, like, there's ones that look like the news, there's ones that look like articles, there's all sorts of things. So it's just hard to know because it was like a flood of misinformation. But that's why I just don't get all like real reactive to it. Just, you know, observe it, take in the information and see. Can you hear how loud it's raining? It's just raining, raining, raining. It keeps doing the same thing. There's so fucking mud. Like, even walking out in my thing, it's just mud. It's just like, oh my God, it's such a fucking mess. And it's just raining, raining. It's going to be back to being a stream day. And it's not. I was telling my son-in-law yesterday, I was saying, I'm sure I know what they did because it was like 3 years ago. They came in and they sprayed, and then I got up in the morning and I was like, somebody had put Roundup. Everything was turning orange. I had all these pine needles, and all of them kept dying and dying and dying. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I started saying to the neighbors and stuff, and everybody was like, oh, it's the wood beetle, it's the wood beetle. I was like, well, how the fuck does wood beetle come into a whole goddamn community? It's not just this neighborhood, it was like everywhere. And just all of a sudden, kill everything that fast. That doesn't make any sense. And nobody would think outside of that. No, they gave us the answer. This is the answer. If you can't accept that, I don't know what's wrong with you. But they told us this is the wood beetle. Then it was, I was already on TikTok, and I was talking to some other people in other areas, some of these other smaller towns around, and they were talking about it too. And so we started gathering information amongst ourselves and paying attention to what was happening with the trees and talking about it. And so there was a lot of people in this kind of conversation back then. And so the next year I was surprised because the trees came back. I thought they're all gonna be dead. But they came back, except for some of them. But there was still this white that started going up. And so I think it was because how Roundup works is it goes into the root system and then it kills it from the roots in. So I think that whatever it was that they put, it attacked into the root system. And so all this water, where there's no stability. And so it's going to be, mud, flood. And I know that the rivers and stuff, even over here when we drove 2 days ago, when we crossed, did he go back across? I think he went across it again yesterday. It's all the way to the top. It will go across. There's always these washouts to all the places where the river is, that the roads will wash out and stuff when it's doing like this. And so but how it's like we're set up now is all of these trees, there's no stability. And so in all this water and then wind or any kind of thing, it's just going to just take them. I'm very curious too, like over in North Carolina and stuff, if it weren't kind of the same thing. Like I'm sure there is some. All I can see is that motherfucking split right there, driving me crazy. If anybody noticed that, because I noticed it, nobody else was noticing it. Even when I talked about it, like I said, people just thought I was whacked out. But to me, it was obvious. It was like, it doesn't know. And then plus, though, I already had the awareness of the spraying and all of that. And over here now, too, it's like as the sun comes out, our sky is so motherfucking orange. And you know what gets me? And I was also telling him, and I think I've already talked about it before, but what gets me is because when I was a kid, and there was so much about the spraying. Like if you watch, see Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall, if you watch the movie, what was that called? Was it called Apocalypse Now or something? That might be the name of it. You could look back in Robert Duvall's movies. There was a movie a long while ago when he was young. And there was a lot of movies in it. Like I've said before, when you go in and you follow through the old movies, you see how the propaganda moves, like what they do, and you know what times and what things were happening at different times and stuff. And so there was a lot of Vietnam war movies, lots and lots. And I think part of it is to get us to accept things or something. I'm not sure. And because everything is so inaccurate and everything, but there was always on the news and stuff too, and they were always attacking these people. But in that movie, I just remember him coming out like, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, and the skies were orange and they were just bombing these people with this. And and it's called Agent Orange. And so both my uncles that were young men at the time were both in this war. And my one, he is still alive, but he has a very traumatic experience there. And he was a sniper too. So just being a sniper is traumatic. Like, you're just popping off, taking people out. And then, and then going through the jungles and stuff, because these people were being attacked, and what could they do? They were putting mines out, and so they would put bombs on the ground, and people didn't know the ground and stuff like that, and so they would step on them, and they would detonate, and people were getting blown up all the time right in front of their friends. And that's what happened with my one uncle. His friend was walking in front of him. It was like a whole group of guys. And when he stepped down, he stepped on one of the things and it blew up. And it injured all the other people too. Like, my uncle got injured, which he got really bad injuries. And they sewed him with wire. So, anyways, it's just like so much inhumane treatment. I swear to God. Here, you guys, you got to go to this other country and do all this brutal shit to save your fucking country, because the nonsense, like, what they, and they drew the line. I mean, they really pushed it too far on Vietnam, because that's where things started dividing. Saying, what the fuck are we going over there? This isn't even not like, what do we have to do with this shit? And so it became very divided during that time. But my other uncle, though, he ended up, once he came back, and he left a different person. Like, they leave one person, they come back a different person. And he developed where, they tried to make like it was like schizophrenia or something. He was talking to people who weren't there. He was talking to himself, doing a lot of weird stuff and everything. And then he ended up himself. And it was really horrible and sad and tragic. But my aunt, who was married to him, she kept saying that she was positive it was the poison that they had used there, and that had fucked him up, and which makes sense. And then look at all the people we have that are getting all fucked up. People just irrational and doing weird shit. People taking out their whole families and shit. So, so there's something with that poison. What I was thinking about was like, it's weird because it was like we were forced into it. Like, there was a lot of people who were rejecting it, fighting back. It wasn't like we were all just like, oh, no big deal. No, it was very, very dynamic, a very combative, very explosive times during that period of time, because it was very divided, and it was a lot of the war machine. And there's like, even when you listen to the music, there's so much about it and stuff. So but it was like, I don't know, because I keep hearing accept, but it was like, in a sense, it was like, we had to accept that they were spraying these people, and then they were convincing us that this was like what had to be done. And I don't even know, because I was a little kid, but I just think, it's so strange, because that's what they're doing to us. And they were doing it to people right in front of us when I was a kid. And it was like, knowing that they're doing it, and I know I would complain, like I would say things to people, but everybody was like very programmed, and that everybody was like couldn't and be like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? It became so much of this where it became these, like, everybody just became couch potatoes. Everybody just began just sitting on their couch and bitching about things. It went from this giant movement to just like, well, what are you gonna do? Let's just sit here and, oh, I don't like it, but what are you gonna do? I don't like it, but what are you gonna do? It's like a surrender happened. And where it was so, and I don't know, since I was a little kid, I don't know for sure, but I can definitely, that happened. And then it, and here we are, decades later, and they're just doing it right to us. Because it wasn't about those people were out to get us. It was like they wanted those people's resources. They want control of those people. And so it's always, they just go in and mass murder, man. And that's what they're actively doing now. And I mean, it's just raining, 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 raining. There's no telling what is going to be going down. It's supposed to rain, I think, for the next, like, fucking 7 days or some shit, too. So, like, when I looked at the weather thing, which is always changing anyway, is, oh, yeah, we're giving under weather. Yo, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's some bullshit. Because even when it was raining yesterday, so his phone popped up and it said that there was, I don't remember, a flood warning or something. And so I went on and looked on my weather thing. It said, oh, it says we're under a winter weather storm until 5 o'clock this morning. And it's 3:15, so we're still under that. But the weird thing about it is it also on a thing said it was supposed to stop raining in 45 minutes or something. That was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it wouldn't be raining anymore. And so it showed no rain, no rain. And so I was like, that's weird. How is there no rain or anything, but we're in a winter storm? Well, this is just pouring and pouring and pouring. It's like they don't, the wet, it's just, everything is ridiculous, man. I'm like, everything is just ridiculous. But whatever is going to go with this fucking, if it is that they're just trying to create a mud flood or just flood, whatever it is, everything is out to be destroyed. So funny too. That was his stomach growling. It's so funny too. And that's another thing too. The dogs are motherfucking starving all the fucking time. It's weird. It's like, it's been 2 hours since you ate, and Stella's getting pissed. Like she's not fucking around. She's in there hitting the refrigerator, having a fit, stomping around. It's like, you just ate. It's like, no, I'm motherfucking hungry. It's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, this is so weird. Everything is just so weird. Everything looks weird. Everything sounds weird. Everything moves weird. There's things knocking shit out of your hands. There's, like, definitely, this is like, it's this flipping, the energy's flipping, man. It's just, everything is just, the thing is like, I don't know where it's going. I don't know if this is like getting us ready for this other thing that is so disconnected, or if once it flips, it's going to feel right again. I don't know. So, now that one was my stomach. And I'm hungry too. Like, I already ate. Like, yesterday I made almond cookies. I made the dog a big thing of stew. I made biscotti. I just ate a piece of biscotti. And then made more nachos and stuff. Today I think I'm going to make, I had some tofu. So I was thinking, I love fried tofu. So I'm going to fry some tofu, maybe make some fritters or something with some cabbage and carrots or something. I don't know. Eating is such a chore. Because I also got some, I keep seeing these people do these recipes with these beans and this Bursin cheese or something. There's tons of these videos with all these different people doing these, like it's a good base or something for bean soup, stews kind of thing or something. I don't know. I'm going to try it and see what it's like. So maybe I'll make that. I don't know. Might do that. Make some kind of a pasta thing with that. Oh, or squash. Oh yeah, beans, that's what it is. Oh yeah, because I have a bunch of squash. Maybe that's what I'll do, is roast a bunch of squash and then make some white beans and then make that person that. So I'm starving, man. Just start talking about food. But let me think, what else was there? I haven't really been on there much. For one thing, it's like electrocuting my hands. Another thing is just weird energy. Another thing, I'm just more busy. And the dogs, oh my God. Oh yeah, and everything was going real smooth for a while. And his dog was going right past Stella and everything was fine. But then yesterday, he started attacking her again. He attacked her 2 times yesterday. It's like, what in the hell? So fucking weird. And it's so much like what Millie did. Like, Millie would just be sitting on the couch. Stella would just walk in the room. Millie would pounce over and just fucking attack her. I was like, what in the hell? And it always makes me kind of nervous because in nature, when something is weak, then it gets attacked. But these dogs aren't. These dogs love her. And every time, like as soon as Stretch started pulling some shit, these dogs jumped up and Archie goes crazy. Archie thinks he's like running this fucking show. Archie is such a crack up. Even my son-in-law is like, oh my God, this dog. He is a crack up. He thinks he's a fucking tough guy. He's like the Edward G. Robinson, a little gangster, little motherfucker, and I'll fuck you up. And Stretch is stout. He's not anywhere the size of Stella, but he's big, like bully dog, big, strong, like fucking big, tough looking dog. And as for Max, poor Max, he's like the little jailhouse bitch. Like he's been, oh God, they're just fucking using his guy. Oh, I feel bad for him. And he's just like, he'll run. The stress on his face. They just grab him. Yesterday they were both pound towning him. Just both of them had him. But then Archie started going after Stretch. Like, this is my bitch. Fuck off. And he's going after him. He's like, you don't fucking. He's like, fuck off, dude. And he was Stretch was running from him and falling back like how Stella was doing with Stretch. It's like, I knew Archie, but I didn't know how Stretch would react to Archie, and it's just weird. It's like, Archie's running him, but the big dog, he's like, fuck you. It's like, God. Dogs are so strange, but everything is really out of whack, and the energy is really intense. And so, fuck, I don't know, but today will be another day of being Stella's bodyguard. And it's intense because you can't go outside. It's rain and it's mud. You just walk and just slide through. It's so fucking muddy. Like every step you take is just mud. You're just mud. It's mud everywhere. And then, so it's kind of just, what are we going to do? Sit in here. And everything is just crowded. There's stuff everywhere. And then there's not much space for the dogs. And then the three boys want to play and be rowdy. Oh my God. And that, it was when Jack was here. And Jack would go wild and start running and jumping all over the house. And I was like, fuck, man, that's crazy. And now, then Max did, but he wasn't to the degree that Jack was. But he would still run or get all excited. But he does a lot more now where he likes to go outside and he likes to be with Stella and sidekick it and run around and bark and stuff. And so he doesn't get as wild until Archie came. Then him and Archie start doing these battles and stuff in here over like who's gonna hold the toy the tightest. And Archie's always more vicious. He's growling the whole time. He's like, fucking hell, you better let me win. He's such a little fucker. And so they will start doing that, running and jumping. And it always is like Archie starts being super aggressive, so Max tries to get away from him, but Archie's relentless. He's like, no, you're not going away from me. He just starts chasing him. So then it starts being this running and chasing, and it's always this jumping. Jump over here, run. It's like wildness. And then, so it's one thing with them two, but then this other one, like Stretch started doing it. We don't hardly have any room, and Stretch started doing it too, and he's huge. Stella would probably do it too if she could, but it would hurt her hips, and she's just a wreck. She's totally uncomfortable right now, and I'm sure her arthritis is just fucked with all this raining and cold and stuff. So, anyways, it's just the fucking drama just goes on and on. But I'm excited because I'm so close to having my bathroom. Like, fuck, man. It was so insane. And you know what I was also telling him is, like, it's so crazy is, like, when there's something that you have, like the bathroom being jacked up since I moved in and just getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm just trusting the universe. I'm just like, okay, you guys need to, it's like, if it was, like, when you are trusting the universe, then it is, because, this is, because, like, say, for instance, because it becomes like priorities. Just like when I was focused on the explant and I'd already made the appointment, was already paid, and then all of a sudden my car breaks down. It's like, oh, so you're going to pay to fix your car? You're going to pay to go get this completed? And then, throughout my different times in life, I would make different choices. And this time now that I went on to this more direct timeline was like, no, I'm going to trust, it's going to work out with that. I'm doing this, so I need to stay focused on what I'm doing and go in this direction. It would not be, it's not that the universe doesn't do it like that. They don't play you that way. It's more of a test. It's more of a direction of more of you deciding. Because then you saw, like, then the car got fixed and stuff. So that is the same thing with the bathroom. Because even when I had decided, like, well, I'm just going to go in and just do it. I'm just going to start ripping up that floor. I'd seen so many girls on videos just doing all this crazy shit. I was like, fuck, I can do it. I'll do the floor. And then once I started going and taking the tiles off and I started seeing it was just total mush. And I was like, fuck, this is under the tub. How am I going to do that? Like, I could rip off all this stuff and put down board. It would be hard. Like, he's having to cut these big, thick boards. Like, that stuff would be hard for me. But, but that was obviously not what the universe wanted me to do, because as soon as I started going in it, I was like, oh my God. And I had said something to my ex who had knew of the problem because he fixed the other side of it. And he said, oh, that's going to be a big job. You're going to probably hire somebody or something. And so, but that is where I was like, okay, so if this is what the universe wants, it will fall into place. The money will come. I will be talking to somebody and they'll be talking about, some repair guy, which is so hard to find out here. And so there's so many people with broken shit and there's nobody to come out and fix it. So I was, but I knew things would fall into place. Whichever direction I'm supposed to go. If I'm supposed to fix it, it will get fixed. If I'm going to lose my house and they're thinking like, you're not fixing it because you're not going to be here, then that would happen. And that's one thing too, is like, because him and I keep discussing, like, this will be so cool for an Airbnb thing. Like, this bathroom is going to be really nice now. It's not going to be like all brand new, but like if you go to some little old cabin, you don't have to have it all brand new. It's kind of, I think a lot of people when they go on like Airbnbs, which Airbnb, it's going to be different too, because Airbnb was corrupt, but there's going to be a lot of travel things, a lot of places to go and travel for people, because there's going to be, we're going to go on a lot more vacations in this new world. And so because a lot of people, when they go and look at them, they like the ones that are, fun or funky. They don't all just want to go to ones that are super generic. A lot of them want like themes and stuff. And so, when you put a lot of theme into the house, the people who come to stay overnight and stuff, they're like, oh, that was fun. So anyways, so that's kind of like how I've been doing it the whole time, because that was my intention from the time I moved in. I was not expecting, the whole world to fall apart a year later after I moved in. So, but I knew it would fall into place, and then the way it just fell into place, and how many things that he had, that I had, like things that we needed, like it was always gonna happen right now, the way it happened, and that's what I keep trying to say. When you start noticing that, you start seeing, you start being like, oh, destiny, oh, timing, oh, it's all set, it's already there, and then when you start trying to force things, it's like, well, why am I trying to force it? If it's somewhere up there, why am I trying to force it? And if it's not up there, it's because I'm going somewhere else. So it's not something where I need to panic and force it. But there was a lot of, sitting there watching it get worse and worse and worse, and being like, bug. And the bathroom was starting to, this was starting to, like, I would sit on the toilet and I'd be like, fuck, I swear to God, it's leaning. I was like, fuck, come on, universe, what's up? What's up? What are we doing here? And then, all of a sudden he just messages me and says, I'm coming. And he messaged me Wednesday night and said he's coming on Friday. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, the weather's going to be bad. I don't know about doing the roof. And I'm thinking, like, I think once he sees that floor, he's going to be like, let's do this floor. This is fucked up. And that's how it went. That's what happened. And he came in and I said, look at this floor. This is what, and he went and he goes, yeah, this is what we got to do with the floor. And then once he was doing it and stuff, he's like, God, it's such a good thing we did this. What a fucking mess. And now that we've gotten to where we are, he's like, oh, he's all excited too. He's done a really good job. And always when you're starting something, it's like, oh man, can I handle this? Can I do this? Am I going to run into problems? But you always run into problems. But those are your obstacles or your challenges. And just go with the flow. Don't get all caught up and getting angry. Like, oh, the universe is out to get me. No. If they're out to get you, they're out to get you smarter. They're out to get you to, more complex. Increase your complexity. So it's not that they're out to hurt you. They're out to help you. So it's all in how we look at things. And that's what I say. It's like on your timeline. Are you in the timeline of being the victim, poor me? Or are you in the timeline of working with the universe? Like, okay, I trust you. We'll get it when it's supposed to be got. And just going with the flow. Even when you don't know where the flow is taking you. Even though when you don't know what's ahead. And you just keep going with the flow. And, oh yeah, I was thinking about going to the food bank today. But I don't know. I want to go, though, on the day because they give, like, Thanksgiving thing. Because I want that turkey because that's a lot of meat for the dogs. So I want to get the free turkey and cook that. So I don't want to miss that. But I don't know if it would be this Tuesday or next Tuesday. It would be one of the Tuesdays. But it would probably be the Tuesday right beforehand, I would imagine. I don't know. I asked him last week because I couldn't remember, and she said it would be 2 weeks ahead, but Thanksgiving is on a weird day now, too, where people are saying that doesn't make any sense. Why is it? It's never been on the 4th Thursday. It's always on the 3rd Thursday, but now it's on the 4th Thursday. So many weird things just happening in everything. There's so many weird things with the sky videos. You can look those up. There's so many weird sky videos. There's so many weird things happening everywhere. Everything is changing. And everything is pushing us to look at things, increase our perspective, to see more, to look at more and stuff. Because the more you see, the more you see. And you can't see it until you see it. It's like somebody has got to point it out. And then once you see it, it's like, then it's there. And that is what's super cool about this awakening. It's just like, and that is where I said, it's like all of a sudden this IQ thing is going to jump. Because one thing, what I have seen so much lately is where they say the average person's IQ is 99. Well, when they told me that my 99 IQ, now that I wouldn't even be able to pass school. That, like that's, oh, that's bad. And then, but then it's coming out, well, that's most people. But that is where I said, when I was talking to people, I kept being like, there's something wrong with how people, it's weird. It's like they can't think for themselves or something. It's like, what the fuck? And it was like I kept feeling like I was pointing stuff out. It was like the brain injury person pointing shit out. Like, what the hell? But I had no idea what was going on then. I still didn't, I didn't understand about the programming and all of the mind control and everything that was going on. But it's like when you have all these pieces and you start putting them together, it's like, oh my God. And so, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, because then, but that's what they're trying to do, is reduce the IQ, reduce the ability to think outside the box, reduce the ability to come up with more, go to them for the answers instead of, and that is what they're like trying to cock block our energy between each other. So, especially like, those of us who think outside the box, to censor us. So we're not putting that energy out. But like I said, just go outside and fucking just say it. Just say it in your living room. The energy is going out. And they can't stop it. And then they don't want, people like me to be telling anybody, like, that's all you got to do. They can't stop what's happening. It's going. And this is the change. It's a reset. It's not the reset they were hoping for, but it's a reset that's going to be, good for humanity. It's going to take us in a whole new thing. But, it hurts when you lose things that you had before. It hurts when things get broken. And, fall apart and stuff. So we do have to go through those challenges of loss and letting go of things. But then we are still headed to something that's so much better. And with just the technology and stuff, the restriction on the technology. Like my son-in-law was just telling me, because we were talking about the hot water heaters, and he said they have these ones now that you just, it's just like a coil, and you just put it on and it's not a tank saving the water. And I said, so well, then how long does it go? He goes, it just keeps going. I said, you can just take it like a hot water shower for hours. I said, well, then why the hell wouldn't we just everybody do that? What the fuck is with the tank shit? And so we were talking about the technology, because he's got the uncle who was in the CIA, who once he retired, he started spilling some stuff to them. And which, you know, that's when I got to see, I told you there was aliens. But the technology, he said, yeah, his uncle had told him too, they repress that stuff. They can do so much more than what we have any idea. So they repress all the technologies, so we buy all their fucking jalopies, and everything is, you know, there's gonna be such a difference. Because yeah, it's like they have us running on coal and there's free energy or something. Like there's gonna be so many changes. And there's some parts with Donald that is like he's got to take the people from where they are. Like he can't just jump up for where some of us are. He's got to go from where the ones down here who, you know, Jesus loving, support the coal miner, you know, like the ones down here think that this is building back America or whatever. But we're going to go a catapult. We're going to quantum leap into a new new technologies and stuff. And there's some things where people are saying, like, I don't know, the 17th or 18th or 15th, I don't know, there's always dates. But I don't know if there's like from the 39 days, because people are saying some big stuff's about to go down. And when the big things start going down, especially after first contact, I would say there's going to be such huge jumps in technology. I don't know how it's all going to go, but there's going to be all these different things that are just going to keep going, because we do have first contact. We have this quantum leap in technology. We have all of this stuff of facing the darkness and the reveal of how many people played out in the darkness, because there's going to be so much corruption about, like, so many with developers, city planners, lawyers, different kinds of lawyers too, not just criminal lawyers, ones that do like corporate lawyers, and there's gonna be a lot of criminal shit, and doctors and nurses, CEOs, and management. It just all depends on the business and what they do, and, you know, their crimes against the humanity. You know, that's what everything is gonna be going about. And the big things are gonna be like treason, RICO, and RICO is it is the let me think what it is, because it's weird. It's like gangster shit. It's like the RICO is you just have to look it up. I can't remember now, but when I was like looking at it, I was like, God dang, this sounds like the stuff that would be for gangsters. It's like, we're fucking run by gangsters, man. Politicians are gangsters. They're all a bunch of fucking gangsters. And this is the crimes that they're committing, the same fucking ones. So, all of the politicians, you know, there's going to be people in the food, there's going to be people in the death industry, a lot of food industry, lots of, there's going to be, you know, like people who are pouring poisons into food and then boxing them up and sending them out to us because the management told them or whatever. People are going to be held accountable for the shit. So we've got all that to go through. So there's we got a lot of stuff to keep going through. And then that too will be kind of like how much you attach your energy to it. But it's also, you can't turn a blind eye. Like, there's a lot of this stuff, like, I won't watch it play out, but I've already have the awareness of it. Like, I've been watching this stuff. It's like, so, but for people who, when it starts being revealed, and they think, oh, I'm not going to look at this. I don't want to see this. You're going to be held back from your process then, because this is a time of release, and whatever's in you needs to be released. So you do need to pay attention and go through that development stage of releasing and witnessing and processing the pain and suffering of the planet, the choices, the dark energy. And then and a big part of the the um, the evolution, though, is to realize that the dark and the light, that's not evil, it's not the devils and stuff, it's the yin to the yang, it's the balance, it's the dark needs the light, and the light needs the dark, and just watching your own life, how bad things happen, but it leads to good things. And so that's just the universal rule or law. It's not like that they made it a rule. It's more the universal laws are more of like a cause and act. It's like this happens. You do this, this happens. That's just the way it is. You do this, this happens. And so it's more of like scientific. It's more of like, cause and effect. If you drop this, and then you create an energetic wave. So so anyways, that's how I look at it. I don't know, somebody could go and say, well, what about this one? What about this one? I don't know that I know all of the universal laws and stuff. But the ones that I know of it's just the natural reaction, the way things grow, the way things move. And that is, the part about being into the flow of the universe is go with how things move. Stop trying to cog block the universe. Stop trying to control it. Stop trying to maneuver it, make it go where you want to go. Stop thinking that you're in charge of everybody else. Like everybody's got to bend down for your feelings. There's so much of that right now. So much of that being expressed out of us. These people who are they need everybody else to feel the way they feel and to support them. Otherwise, everybody's out to get them. It's like, what a strange way to look at things. But these are all things, that are purged out from different lives. And, it would be interesting, if there was a time period where it was like you could see I guess that is what they're all watching. The people who are watching, they're watching how these things play out and go in together and stuff. And how from this life it caused you to be this way, but then this energy brings that back up so you can release it and stuff. So they can watch this. Like I said, it's like this kaleidoscope of energy and movement and how things play out. And they always play out in a beautiful way. Everything plays out in a beautiful way. And so, do we want to sit here and just say, the universe is wrong, there should be no evil, there should be no... Because that is the one big thing, too, is, the problem that a lot of humans have with God and stuff is like, well, why would God let bad things happen? It's like, well, you're judging what's bad and good, and why, just because it appears to be bad, why do you think that is all that it is? And because bad things lead to good things. Like, sometimes they lead to not good things. Like, you can take two people and put them in the same situation of an abusive family, and this is what all the different things, why all these different things play out. Like, because you can take two different ones and have them come out of the same situation and go in totally different directions. You could have somebody take all of that and build themselves up, like, oh, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be... And then another one is like, well, I don't deserve anything. This is all I get. So it's totally different things. And that's where the universe likes to watch, how these patterns play out. How does this go this way? And how does this go this way? And when does this turn another direction? When does this go this way? And when does this see that? And so that is what we are doing. We're like this movement going around. Anyways, I think that's interesting. And so, yeah, they're watching a lot of stories, completions. So see, they do, by that longer angle, that way out, they get so much more. Because, yeah, when you could hear, like, of different people's past lives and what it is that they how, you know, they took this problem, went through that, and then how they came back into this completely different life to have this come back up, and how they could process through it. Like, that stuff is interesting. But see, that's where like the global mind, the universal mind, that is the learning part. That is like, it's like we're the synapses of this energy of creation, but then they are like the learning part of the mind. They're like the observer. So they are the part that observes and learns, but they have a different view. It's like they're further out, just like all of us can keep moving out further and further. And it broadens your perspective, and it makes you be able to see more, and it takes away a sense of urgency. They are out to where they can enjoy the show. Like, they can watch how things play out and how people develop and everything. So yeah, that's super interesting. I bet. Anyways, you know, how long? Oh shit, I've been talking a long time. So, what are we doing here? We know what we're doing here. We're learning how to love ourselves, to love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So work on that, and I'll talk to you later. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.